19-year-old Victoria Martinez is suing 20-year-old Jasmine Perez for the return of money she paid for a Saturn.
Miss Martinez, you bought a used car from the defendant and you want your money back. That's what the case is about.
Yes, ma'am.
How did you find the car?
I saw a post on a page on Facebook that we were both members of.
When did you purchase the car?
October 29th.
How much did you pay for it?
$3,000.
Did you write up a contract?
No, I do have the bill of sale, though.
Who wrote up the bill of sale?
At the bank they did for us, but we both
I'd
signed
like to see it. That's a contract. So the car's 10 years old?
Yes.
Great. So you went and took a look at it and you bought it the next day?
Yes.
And you took it home on the 29th?
Yes. Yeah, but I got
And then
the
what did
keys.
you do with the car?
I took the car home. My neighbor came with me to look at the car. We took it home, and then I had called to find out about getting it registered in California and what next steps we would take to do that. And then we waited a little while, and then we ended up.
What do you mean you waited a little while? What's a little while?
We waited about, I would say, 2 weeks to take it in, to get it checked over.
Okay,
Because,
so the car was in your possession for 2 weeks?
yes, before we went and
Just
got
a
it checked
second.
again. Yes.
And then you took it to a
To the
mechanic?
Yes. The same mechanic. I have the receipt that she had taken the car to, just to get it checked over to see if everything was okay. And that's when we found out that the car had never been smog tested in the state of California, which I knew from research it was illegal to sell a car. And I thought that those records just went immediately to the DMV. I knew that there wasn't like a certificate of anything for that being done, so I thought that it had been smog tested.
Whatever you thought, you had the car in your possession for 2 weeks.
And I was under that impression. And then when
Your impression is really not important, Miss Martinez.
Right.
You
Right.
bought a used car.
Right.
When you buy a used car, generally you buy it unless there is a guarantee. If you buy it off of a used car lot, sometimes there's a 30-day guarantee or
Right.
a 90-day warranty. But usually when you buy a 10-year-old car from a private person, you buy it as is.
Right.
Now, what you do is when you buy a car, if you want to take it to a mechanic to have it checked, you take it and you say to the prospective seller, I'd like to have this car checked by my mechanic before you buy it. You knew enough to take the car to a mechanic 2 weeks later. What were you doing in that 2 weeks?
Well, we were waiting to get it registered until my husband got paid again because we spent the money on the car. So we waited, but we had already talked to the mechanic about bringing it in and talked to him
Whether
about
you talk to the
everything.
mechanic or not, you have to understand what the realities are. The realities are you had the car under your care and custody
Right.
for a period of 2 weeks.
Right.
As she says in her response, I don't know what she did with the car in those 2 weeks. I don't know if she drove it. I don't know if her husband drove it. I don't know if anybody else drove the car in that 2 week period. When you gave it to her, did you take your plates off the car?
No, I did not.
So there were plates on the car, so you could have driven the car. Your husband could have driven the car. She could have driven the car. Who knows what happens to the car in that 2 week period of
Right.
time? It wasn't the next day that you took it.
No.
No, I know, because she said it. 2 weeks later, I got a call from her and said that the car couldn't be smogged. There was a part that was missing. But she said, I don't know what she did with that car in 2 weeks.
Right.
Neither do I.
Well, we had taken it into the mechanic. We found out that it had not.
2 weeks later.
Right, that it had not been smog tested, and that part was actually discontinued and
The
wouldn't
car
be
had
able to
Guam
help
license
anymore.
plates on it.
Right. But before you sell a car in California, I have the paperwork right here from the DMV that you do have to get a car smog checked, and it's illegal to
Yeah,
sell
you're
a
not
car
get-
that isn't smog tested in California.
Where's the car now?
It's at home. It's just been parked. We haven't drove it since.
Why not?
It's not registered, so.
Well, you should get it registered.
Well, we can't because it's not smog tested.
Get it smog tested.
Well, we can't get it smog tested because technically it's still in her name and she was the one who had to get it smog tested. Like, the way that they explained it to us is I had to make sure that it was smog tested before I could register it, but technically when she sold it to me without it being smog tested, it was an illegal transaction.
Ms. Martinez, the defendant will do whatever is necessary to cooperate with you in writing her name anywhere, I assume, to get the car serviced in whatever jurisdiction you choose.